Hello, Oracles. So the Tesla stock downtrend continues. We closed at around $270. Not a big deal. This is something we have been tracking. And looks like we got some credit rating info from Alexandra, aka Tesla Boomer Mama, over on Twitter. So we will break that down for you as well. So first off, I want to apologize for the live stream last night. Power went out at my place about 15 minutes before I was supposed to go live. Turns out there was some malfunction at the substation nearby. And I have no service at home, so it was very hard for me to communicate to let you guys know that. So I apologize, but made me think about the fact that if I had Tesla Powerwalls and Starlink would not have been an issue. So this is just something to look forward to in the future and what Tesla and Starlink can provide to create better connectivity for the entire world going forward, which in turn makes better safety. So I am planning a special live stream on Monday. I know many of you in the UK and Europe have, it's late when I do mine at 6 p.m. on Fridays. So let me know what time on Monday works for you guys. I'm Eastern Standard Time over in the US, so New York time. And let me know what time works for you guys on Monday. I am off that day and the markets are closed, so I'll be able to do a good live stream for you guys, answer any questions, and go over a lot of information. So let me know what time works for you. And so looking at the charts, what I'll show you guys all on Monday is we are on a downward trend. So, we were talking about how we needed to break and close over at 280. That didn't happen. I wasn't sure. We kind of touched over it a little bit yesterday and then fell down and then continued to fall over the course of the day. So this was just the line I was looking at to test. The top line of the downward channel was 290. We didn't even come close to that. We hit a top of 282 during the day and then pulled down from there. Again, this is not a concern for me. This is just the trend that we are on. It is not Tesla specific. It is the entire macro environment. We have had the NASDAQ down 6 days in a row, and this may continue going forward until we get to the CPI data. We have already talked previously about how Warren Buffett expects a further correction to be coming. We have the gaps that are lower in the S&P and the NASDAQ. So this downward trend is just the natural trend of things at the moment. And based upon all the news that we have in the macro environment, when we get the CPI, PPI, FOMC meeting, just these things are the catalysts to keep us moving in that direction with uncertainty. And then we've got the midterm elections as well. That always leads to some uncertainty. So we could see a further pullback. Again, not a big deal to me. These are great buying opportunities. And before we get into the credit rating info, I wanted to go back to the Giga Canada news that we had. So just to go in a little bit further, we've got some information about the job posting that was put over in Montreal, and it is for a recruiter position. And now this recruiter position is actually only a position in Tesla for areas that have a Gigafactory. So not to say that this has to be it, but just looking at some of the puzzle pieces that we are putting together, this kind of points in that direction even more. And Dan Corral over on Twitter had put up a picture posting all of the different lithium sources that they have over in Canada. The majority of them are on the eastern half. So looking at this, looking at the Montreal posting, this information is just pointing to this. And we know that Elon had stated before that the biggest bottleneck that they see coming up is lithium. So if Tesla is going to be putting a factory over there, or maybe this is going to be some sort of lithium refining. Who knows? Don't know on that one. That is just something that popped into my head right now. But looking at the things that Tesla is looking at, that Elon has stated, lithium is the biggest bottleneck coming up. They are obviously also looking to put up another gigafactory somewhere in North America. They have said this before. They're looking at Mexico and Canada as options. And I've been having discussions with others of you in the comments about how Canada makes a lot of sense, especially on the East Coast, because you can put on the East Coast, you can then supply the Northeast of the US, you can supply Northern US, you can supply Canada, you can also be shipping out of the ports on the East Coast of Canada. And now looking at all the lithium that's over there as well on the eastern side of Canada, makes a lot of sense to put one over there. So these are just the next couple of puzzle pieces I have seen. Just wanted to share them with you guys. Now let's go over to the credit rating info that we have gotten from Alexandra. Now Alexandra used to work for a credit agency. I believe it was Moody's. And she's got a spreadsheet that is broken down with all of the companies and all of the different metrics that are put together to determine what a company should be for a credit rating. So if you guys don't follow her, definitely follow her over on Twitter at Tesla Boomer Mama. And she's got this all broken down, pointing out how Tesla's financials are significantly better than pretty much everyone else's that are out there. So she's been harping on Moody's and saying, hey, what is going on? Why is Tesla not investor grade credit rating? And so they finally did respond, and they responded with, it's not so much of a quantitative issue, it's more of a qualitative issue. So basically stating that it's not the financials that they're concerned about. It's the bigger concern is, what is their breadth of product that they have to offer? They currently only have 2 models that are out there. And while those 2 models, albeit are bringing in significant revenues for them, they want to see more. Now, personally, I think that's kind of BS. Now, Rob Maurer had pointed out that these companies are, a little slower moving. They don't have the same info. Those of us who are here in the community, we see what's going on. We're very deep into the weeds to figure out what's going on with Tesla. These companies, credit rating companies, are not. Maybe they should be, but they're not. And so Rob was saying that, and I totally agree, because right now Tesla is doing something that no other company has ever done. And when it comes to something like that, these companies, probably are a little bit more pensive about going in and saying, all right, hey, this is looking good. They don't have that same excitement and drive that we do as inside Tesla investors and Tesla fans. So because of that, they're kind of like, all right, well, we're on the outside. We don't have that same excitement. We just want to see some more numbers going forward. So I'm guessing at this point that they are really looking for Cybertruck to actually come to fruition. There's a lot of bears that are still out there saying that Cybertruck's never coming, but I think when Tesla puts up the order page for Cybertruck and you can actually go out there and configure it and they see the pricing for it, that will be a better piece of information for them as far as the qualitative piece when they're coming to it and saying, all right, here's another vehicle that's coming out. And I think the real big key point that they are looking for is a vehicle that is around that $30,000 mark, something that can compete with the lower priced vehicles. Now, ironically, looking at it, it could very well be the Model 3. So perhaps Tesla just brings down the price of the Model 3. Looking at how they've been cutting costs in the 4680s coming out, and they're now getting up to scale everywhere, it could potentially be that. And with the EV tax credit coming out, you could bring the Model 3 theoretically down to that price. But I think Moody's is still looking for another vehicle. And it's something we have spoken about on here also, which is a smaller vehicle. Europe especially could utilize a vehicle of the smaller size, like a Golf size vehicle over there. So I think that's something that Moody's is waiting for. And then just more data. Tesla has been showing that they've got great financials coming in. And I think Moody's just wants to see more of that. Like, all right, so that's awesome. You've done this, 8 quarters in a row. Now we're looking at a couple of years in a row. Just give us a few more quarters of this just to show that you can maintain the consistent growth that you have been having. So I still think that we may see it come in November with Q3 earnings. I'm not sure about that. I think it's also going to be timing wise when they do come out with the Cybertruck ordering page as far as that goes. And then if they do end up announcing a lower priced vehicle, which I do still think is going to be coming in 2024, I just don't think that they are going to be announcing it this year. So unfortunately, that may be the piece that Moody's is looking for. Don't know. We'll see how it goes in the future. And personally, you can think whatever you want. Moody's is going to do what Moody's is going to do. Whether this is actually going to sway them one way or another has yet to be seen. Whether you think that maybe there's some sort of insider thing going on, maybe there's some corruption going on there. I personally think there is with the S&P at least. Whether it's happening with Moody's or not, who knows? So we can all have our theories about that. Let me know in the comments what you think. Either way, it is not changing yet, but I think this is good to bring awareness to them and say, hey, maybe there's some pieces that you're missing because yes, Tesla is not doing what other companies have done in the past, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe this is why they are as successful as they are, because they don't have a huge breadth of vehicles, which is in turn going to end up making them be less profitable. Think about all the legacy automotive companies that are out there right now. They're not very profitable because they have so many vehicles. Tesla is profitable because they have fewer. That's Tesla's business model. That's why they're so successful. So why would Tesla want to do what everybody else is doing when it's not as successful? So this is just something, and this is what disruption is all about. And sometimes when you've got a big company like Moody's, who has got to be in charge of doing a credit rating like this, they've got to be a little more careful because they don't want to do this because, hey, nobody's ever done this before. Do we take that risk and say, yes, we're confident Tesla is going to do this when they have nothing to back it up really from other companies? But now, just to get some of the reactions of all the different investors, people on Twitter and some people on YouTube who have been discussing this and what they think, we've got, Dr. Jack, who was on this channel before, was saying, hey, this credit rating upgrade delay just gives us as retail investors more time to buy the stock at suppressed prices. Personally, I love that option because I would love to be able to add more at lower prices just because of some silly credit rating. Now, Elon did chime in on this and responded to Dave Lee's tweet about this, saying that Moody's is irrelevant. Now, my thoughts on this coming from a personal standpoint is I've been working hard at getting my debt down. And one of the things that I learned about in personal finance is the fact that having a zero credit is actually the best thing in the world, because that means that you are going to be paying for everything in cash. If you have enough cash flow generation coming in to just pay for everything without having to use credit, that's the best way to go. Because you think about it, like all the legacy automotive makers, they continue to use credit, and look at the massive debt that they are in. Tesla has been proving they just don't want to be in debt. They don't want to owe anyone anything. They're just going to pay for everything they can out of pocket, said and done. So with that being said, we'll see how it goes in the future as they create and build new gigafactories, if they're just going to pay for it out of pocket or take loans for things. But when it comes to that credit rating, it's, as Elon said, it's irrelevant, because if they're going to just be paying for everything out of pocket with cash, who cares about credit? So, and I know that it works out differently between the credit rating and the actual credit and what Tesla can get for loans and things like that. I know that's totally separate, but that's just Elon's mentality right now, is it doesn't matter. Who cares? And seriously, I know we talk about the daily stock price on here, even though I'm a long-term investor. Looking long-term, it is going to get there. Tesla will get to investor grade rating for both Moody's and the S&P, and I have no doubt they're going to be top tier within the next 5 years. That's not even a question on my mind. However, that's why Elon is saying that it's really irrelevant, because we are going to get there eventually. It's just a matter of time. Now, Alexandra chimed in as well and said, there's a lot of people out there who have their money with financial advisors or in some institutions and funds that will not invest in Tesla because they are not investor grade. And these people aren't people who are playing with the stock market in their own funds on a daily basis. That's just not what they do. They have their money and they trust someone else with it, but they want to be invested in Tesla, but they can't because Tesla is not investor grade rating. So that is a very viable argument as well. And then it comes down to, do you think Tesla is going to grow at that rapid pace over the next 2 to 3 years, despite not being investor grade rating? Or do you think they're going to trade more sideways? So argument can be made either ways. I personally think they are going to grow, but if the macro environment continues to be suppressed, maybe Tesla just trades at a lower range than it normally would if it was investor grade rating. So perhaps that's not going to matter in the long run, because when it becomes that, all these people are going to have their money dumped into Tesla at a point where the price is still a little bit suppressed anyway. So we'll see how this plays out in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to how you think it's going to affect the stock price and how it's going to affect you personally. Are you someone who has all of your money invested through 401ks, institutions, a financial advisor, someone else who is in actually control of your funds, and they won't invest because Tesla is not investor grade? So let me know your thoughts in the comments on that. And let me know, as a retail investor, if you are one, are you happy that they're not upgraded because you can buy more for less? Or are you upset that they are not upgraded because you want to see the stock price go to the moon? So looking at how this is all going to be affecting the stock price in the near term, I don't think it's going to affect it much. I think the macro environment is really what's going to control where we move at this point, at least over the next month. We have some people on YouTube thinking that we are going to be getting down to the stock lows of the year come October, which means that Tesla would be down to 206. Whether we pull down to that level or not, I'm not sure. Judging by the downward trend we are on, I do think we are still going to pull down to fill that 247 gap and hit that 245 support level. So at that point, that's what I'm going to be paying attention to see if we are going to drop below that or if we are going to bounce off of that and then come back up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you guys add any extra yesterday with the dip that we had after we ran over 280? Are you guys waiting for a further dip before you add more? What do you guys feel about the credit rating info that we got? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.